Well, okay.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, miss.
Okay, so
Okay.
because in my computer, if I use the internet, I should the computer ask permission or something. So I try to
Okay, that's okay, miss. That's okay.
yeah.
So,
So in this room only me because actually in the schedule I got two speaker in my room.
yeah, there's also the first speakers. They are
Oh,
Mr. Marcus and Mr. Indra.
oh yeah.
They are
Okay.
already here.
Okay. Sorry. So
Okay.
sorry for the problem.
That's okay. That's okay, miss.
Thank you.
Well, yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, because the time is already show 10 and 45, so let's begin the session for this morning. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to parallel session 1 of the 7th International Language and Language Teaching Conference 2020 in this Zoom meeting. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dia Apriani as the moderator. I am a 5th semester student of English Language Education Study Program, and I will be in charge of this parallel session. So before starting this session, I would like to read the rules for you. So there are 4 points that you have to pay attention in this session. The first one, each presentation will last for 15 minutes. And when there is 5 minutes left, I will let you know through the chat room or through the audio. And the second one is two presentations will be delivered in a row. And then the third one is we will have question and answer session after all the presentations have finished. And the last one is other rules can be found in the program book. So ladies and gentlemen, there will be two presentations in this session, and they will be delivered by Miss Ayuni Kabobu Hedaer, Mr. Indrajit Lukman Santoso, and Mr. Markus Budiharjo, and also Miss Aprilia Kristiana Triwahyuni. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the session? So let's begin with the first presentation entitled Portraying Graduate Students' Levels of Understanding, a Solo Taxonomy Levels, and it will be delivered by Ms. Ayuni Kabobu Hedaer, Mr. Indrajit Lukman Santoso, and Mr. Markus Budi Raharjo from Sanata Dharma University. Well, for Mr. and Miss, are you ready? Okay, you have 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes to deliver your presentation, and the time is yours. Good luck.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first presentation of Room 3 in this parallel session. In this occasion, we would like to present our research on portraying graduate students' levels of understanding, a solo taxonomy lens. This research, conducted by 3 people, namely Ayuni Kabubuheda, R. Indrajit Lukman Santoso, and Mr. Markus Budi Raharjo. Everyone encounters unprecedented challenges, forcing us to change many things. To be sure, no expert had anticipated any of today's challenges. No theories were developed to equip us with certain ways of thinking and tools. But we all agree that some change must take place sooner or later. Here we argue that it is the most fundamental part of us, that is our own paradigm that needs a drastic change. We would assume that the pandemic era has forced us to deal with some sort of paradigm shift. Related to higher education, the paradigm shift itself covers a set of complex issues, namely who, when, where, how, what, and why to access knowledge. So this research is situated within this framework, that is to assess how a certain class attempts nurture deep learning during this pandemic era. 2 questions proposed are, To what extent did the first year students demonstrate the depth of understanding, and what challenges did they identify in their effort to engage the deep learning? In conducting this research, the researchers drew ideas from three theories to facilitate the data analysis. They are taxonomy of learning, metacognition, and solo taxonomy. These theories will be further explained in the next slide. The first theory is taxonomy of learning. This is the latest adaptation by Harvard University. This taxonomy dated back to the 1950s, where Benjamin Bloom developed it and many adopted afterward. Bloom's taxonomy is a framework levels of understanding. In 2001, Lauren Anderson and David revised the Bloom's taxonomy from triangle to a broad wedge that better highlights the value of creating, evaluating, and analyzing. And to support those three elements, it followed by remembering, understanding, and applying. The second theory is metacognition by Flavel and Zimmerman. Metacognition is thinking beyond thinking. There are three types knowledge of cognition, such as declarative knowledge, knowing about things or what, procedural knowledge, knowing how to do things, and conditional knowledge, knowing the why and why to do things. High-order thinking skills and self-regulation are where people understand their own way of thinking, and it can help them to raise their abilities to think critically. The third theory is the main theory used to analyze the data in this research, namely solo taxonomy by John Biggs, 1982. In the chart, there are 5 levels of solo taxonomy according to John Biggs' theory. The first one is pre-structural level. Here, the students has no understanding and use irrelevant information. Second is unistructural level. Here, the students has competence to identify, to do procedure, and to recite. The third is multi-structural level. The students are able to classify, combine, and enumerate, and so on. The fourth, relational level. The students have the ability to relate, compare, and analyze the data, the material, I mean. And the highest level is extended abstract level. The students have the capacity to generalize the structure beyond the information given and even produce new hypotheses or theories. Research method. In this research, the researcher applied qualitative research approach. The type of data gathered by the first is from 3 forum discussion on LMS, such as instructional design, philosophical foundation, and psychological foundation. And the second is from forum group discussion or FGD. For additional information, LMS is a learning management system used by the lecturer and students of Sanata Dharma University to facilitate the learning and teaching process. Okay, this is an example of the instruction for the students to raise an issue in the forum discussion critically. They should elaborate the topic with tension, contradiction, conflict, ambiguities, and contestation. And they are also expected to problematize them. Here is the task completion criteria. In order to complete the task from the lecturer, each group was in charge of exploring certain issues. Video explanations to be uploaded on YouTube along with the PPT and scripts were submitted for other groups to critique. The critiques in form of summaries and critical response or question were posted in the forum discussion, and each individual student was required to post one thread and reply other thread at least 4 times. In this slide, the teacher took an example of students' critical review of the topic on the forum discussion. In this critical review, the students raises an issue with tension and contradiction.
Okay, and this slide will present the data collection and analysis of this study. The data were analyzed by multiple readings of the data taken from forum discussions on LMS and focus group discussions or FGD. Forum discussions is a feature on a Moodle-based learning management system, which was utilized to record students' comprehensions through their own summaries in response to others' videoed explanation. The data analysis started from analyzed and classified the level of respondents based on solo taxonomy on LMS forum discussions, or they wrote the critical review. Then the classified data from forum discussions were supported by the data from focus group discussions, or FGD, and the results from FGD were utilized to validate the data of forum discussion. Moreover, focus group discussions was used to discover the challenges faced by 10 respondents. And now, let's move to findings and discussions. And this slide will explain about the classifications of respondents into two quartiles. The classifications will be used as the representative as the whole data in focus group discussions, or FGD. And lower quartile was classified based on the lower level of solo taxonomy, level 2 and level 3, or surface understanding. And then move to upper quartile, it was classified based on the upper level of solo taxonomy, level 4 and 5, or deep understanding. Then we move again. The data from forum discussions was classified based on solo taxonomy level. The three topics of discussions were instructional design, psychological foundation, and philosophical foundation. Based on the data presented, there is no respondent of level 1 among 3 topics and only 1 respondent in level 2. And then move to level 3. Level 3 in philosophical foundations has the lowest number of respondents, which are only 2, and followed by instructional design and psychological foundations, which have 3 respondents. And then level 4 indicates the greatest numbers of respondents among all levels, which psychological foundations has 6 respondents in level 4. And the last one is level 5, that philosophical foundations has 3 respondents among all topics. Therefore, those are classifications level of respondents that the majority of respondents are on level 4 of solo taxonomy, or they are on deep understanding level. Then move to the challenges from forum group discussion. This slide will reveal the challenges faced by respondents regarding the writing in a forum discussion. The data was taken from focus group discussion, or FGD, among 4 respondents of English Education's master's program. The challenges were seen from lower and upper quartile respondents. And let's move to the first one. The first one is lower quartile respondents face some challenges are as follows. The first one is unfamiliar topic of the discussion. The second one is lack of academic skills, specifically in writing and reading. And the third one is the absence of teaching experiences. It was mostly found in fresh graduate respondents who never experienced teacher beforehand. And the fourth one is the limitations of community lead to the absence of brainstorming, argument, and self-confidence. It refers to online learning limits the chance of respondents to meet other friends and discuss the given assignments or tasks. Okay, and then move again to adapting to current learning situation in English language education's master's program. Respondents needed to adapt to learning environment again after spending some time to work. And the last one is working load. The respondents feel that they got a lot of assignments and tasks with limited duration of time. And those are the challenges faced by lower quartile respondents. And now let's move to upper quartile respondents. The core distinctions of upper and lower quartile respondents is on the solution in overcoming those challenges. They also dealt, the upper quartile respondent dealt with some challenges, namely unsatisfied with the videos made by their colleagues. Therefore, they validated their understanding from other resources. The second one is not easily giving up, although coming from different backgrounds. And the third one is a lack of self-confidence, but they ensure themselves to write critical review. They forced themselves to write, although they didn't have good self-confidence. And the fourth one, or the last one, self-adjustment despite a lack of understanding on discussed
I'm sorry,
topic.
Mr. Indra. You have 2 minutes left to finish your presentation.
Thank you. They try to adapt and learn in the learning condition, although they lack of understanding of the current topic. Okay, and then we move to the last slide. Finally, we arrive to the conclusions and recommendations. The respondents who were taken from 10 students of English Education's master's program are on the level of deep learning, level 4 and level 5 in solo taxonomy. They showed the ability to think critically in the current learning situation. Based on the data percentage in result and discussions, the respondents' levels of taxonomy varied 30% on surface learning and 70% on deep learning. Then, the challenges of deep learning are mainly on previous training, isolationism, limited exposure of professional work, limited academic skills, and inadequate comprehensions of task definition. Therefore, those are the presentations of our research. Thank you for listening and have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Mr. Indra, Ms. Ayuni, and also Mr. Marcus for an interesting presentation. That was really useful for me, especially in 5th semester of college. Thank you so much. So, okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Indra. Well, that was the first presentation. Now let's move on to the second presentation. The second presentation, entitled Cognitive Processing Second Language Acquisition, the pristine methods to measure the student's ability in the sound production, and it will be delivered by Miss Aprilia Kristiana Triwahyuni from Universitas Atmajaya, Yogyakarta. Miss Aprilia, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, you have 15 minutes to
Okay.
finish your presentation. The time is yours. Good luck,
Thank you.
Miss. Yes.
So I would like to share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Miss. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
It
you.
is not really, yeah, I will try to be fast because, yeah. Okay, so good afternoon. So I would like to say sorry first because you have to stretch me like a missing person. Okay, so this one I would like to share is this is my research. Actually, this is a pre-research for my proposal. So this is not really a whole big research. So this is the pre-research for doing my main research. So my main research is try to collected the data of a sound production of Indonesian people in consonant and vocal. So I tried to say the formant of the vocal sounds and how the something like that. I mean, like I will show you the results. So this is only the pre-test, the pre-research. So I try to see how sounds recognition will will affect the ability of a certain students to produce the sounds or the foreign sounds, because actually we didn't realize that the sounds that we recognize actually is different with the real sounds that we see. So I will show using the sound wave and the spectrogram also, so we can see the real sounds, or the real, the real length of the sounds or something like that. So yeah, maybe it's not, yeah, I don't know, maybe because the cognitive linguistics is not really something that of famous, or something that Indonesian people Indonesian people do not really do the research in cognitive linguistics, so maybe this one is not really familiar with you. But yeah, I just tried to share something that I like, so something like that. Okay, so we talk about the second language acquisition and target language acquiring. So because you know that in in learning language, we talk about this SLA and then target language, because you know that the differences between them. So is this the research take part of this field. And then let's say we talk about the language transfer here. So we have the positive one and the negative one, and then in the negative one we have the overgeneralization and then language interference. So here I would like to share about the language interferences. So especially in sounds production and something like that, but related to the sounds recognition first. So I would like to show you how how sounds recognition can be a big deal in sounds productions or something like that. And then yeah, we talk about the language interferences here. It's like when you learn, if you learn target language or second language, usually you find difficulties in produce some sounds. Like example, when we learn English, because all of you maybe a student of English department, you will find difficulties to produce the word or the sounds thing, this, like this thing, right? And then maybe the plosive something like that. You do not really say pig, but you just say pig in Indonesia, because we have a p, but it's not really plosive p in Indonesian, like papa. So something like that, not papa. So actually we share different features in our sound. Maybe the sound is the sound is same, a nasal sound, something like that, but we have a different or slightly different features in the same nasal sound. Or maybe we have a same, a liquid sounds, but actually we share each country share a little bit different feature in liquid sounds or something like that, because that's why you have a flap sound and then tap sounds and then rhotic sound, dark owls or something like that, because the features of the sounds are slightly different. So we found that some sounds are very difficult to produce or to pronounce with our ability of production sound, something like that. So that's the language interferences that I talk here. So this one. So the common language interference in phonological system is sounds production. So the previous researchers, they usually only focus on the sounds production. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, it's like speech, or or like speech production. I mean, like when we talk about sounds, actually we talk about sounds production, how we use the sound, how we use the feature of the sounds to deliver a message. That's actually a good, it's like that's actually the main point of doing research in phonology or in phonetics or something like that. That's the main idea, right? But nowadays, many researchers find that the cognitive process of acquiring or of recognizing the sounds is quite important in the holistic research to see the sounds production. So that's why nowadays, if you find that research that you will find many research that talking about what call it, how the recognition of the sound that have, I mean, it's like how the foreign students try to recognize a certain sounds that didn't do not exist in their language or something like that. So we talk about the sounds recognition. Okay, so this not actually, I just try to, what is it, give you a hint stuff, but I do not really know actually it works or not. So I mean, it's like when you talk about the Bloom's taxonomy, we have two types, right? The first one and the revised one. The first one, the highest, usually the first one they talk about what is it, using the noun like evaluation, synthesis, analysis, and then they put the evaluation as the highest level. But the revised one, they put the creating as the highest one, because, and then they use the verb, what is it, the verb in the gerund, creating, evaluating, and then they what is it, the emphasizing on the creating things as the highest level of what is it, skill. So that's why they have hots and lots or something like that. So if you talk about the cognitive domains of the taxonomy Bloom's, you will see that the good objective of language learning is like to be able to measure, justify, create, compose, use, something like that. Do you still remember that the teacher in pendidikan bahasa Inggris always say, don't put a verb that in your objective of learning that shows something that you cannot measure. So sometimes if we put like the student I'll be able to understand the meaning of the words. So the teacher will say, how can you know that the student understand about the word or the meaning of the word? You cannot measure it. So use the verb or the correct verb to make a learning objective. So usually when we are learning in PBI, they say like that, right? So that's why we never use a certain verb to what is it, to put on the objective of learning or something like that. But now we can measure that things. So because we're talking about cognitive things, something that we cannot see, but we can just try to test. What is it? To measure this using the test. So that's why to be able to understand, to be able to recognize can be a part of objective, depends on how you, what is it, you did the test you did the test to the second language acquisition learners or something like that. So this is the cognitive process. If you see the picture, it's all related to the object, and then the student, what is it, get the object, and then they process the things in the what is it, in the head, and then they produce it. So it's like a circles, something like that. So we have an object, and then the what is it, the neuron things, the hemisphere things in your head. I don't really know. So like your head got the idea, the concept of the object, and then you produce a certain language to show what kind of object that you get. So this is the process of cognitive. So the object we can got from the something that we can see and something that we can hear. So this is the main project. So we have the concept, categorization, and the contextualization. So what the things here is the concept. Usually when we talk about the process of cognitive, the cognitive process, we have the concept that you have, like example, I said I saw an apple, so I got the concept that's, oh, that's the things is an apple. And then in your head there is a process of categorization that an apple is a part of a fruit of, or a part of a story of Snow White. So the categorization is happen in your head. So the categorization is not only one; it can be like many categorization happens because one
I'm sorry,
concept.
Miss Aprilia. You have 4 minutes left to finish
Okay,
your
yeah.
presentation.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
okay, so after this I will be quick. Okay, because the categorization is so many in your head. It depends on the concept that you got. So if you see an apple in your head, you can categorize it as a fruit or as a part of Snow White's story or something like that. So it's a process of categorization in your head. So if you talk about categorization, we talk about neurology, something like that. And then we have the context. So after we see the context of the object, the context is we talk about something that we can eat. So that's why it's an apple. So that's an apple is a fruit, not a part of Snow White's story or something like that. So this is the process of cognitive process. This is the process of cognitive in human brain, something like that. Okay, this is a research. I make it quick. Yeah. Okay, so this is a research. So when we talk about the research, I talk about two types of tests. So the first one is dictation, and the second one is phonology strategies used in speech production. So I use like syllable sequences. So I put like some sequences, and then I try to find the syllable constraints that syllable constraints is something that sequence of sounds that are not accepted in their native language. So this is the in Indonesia, yeah. So this is the phonetic distribution. So they have like this thing. I cannot explain it with the short time. So this is the thing. So this is like the distribution of the phonetics is the way I put the sounds that not really accepted in their in their main language. So I use the Korean speaker. So the Korean speaker cannot pronounce nasal N with K or nasal nasal M with whatever, or a liquid R with P or something like that. So they have a syllable constraints that they have so many things. So I try to put the pairs of the sound here or something like that. Okay, I make it fast, something like that, like this. Okay, so this is the way, and this is the strategy, the phonology strategy that happen when they find the sound sequences that are not acceptable in their language. So that's why they do the strategic phonologies, and then to to see more to see more detailed things. I use the sound wave and the spectrogram here, so I can see the sonority of a vocal. So like this here, so I can see, oh, this is a P or this is a B. Actually, they say parang or parang or barang. I can see using the the spectrogram and the sound wave. So because the height, the length of the wave show you this is a P or P or P, so something like that. So it will say, and then the sonority of the vocal also, because you say at the highest, the sound that have the highest sonority is the vocal one. So we can see the things like that. Okay. So I just want to show that this is the way that I can see that the student are be able to produce the sounds or not, so something like that. And then
I'm so sorry, Miss Aprilia, your time is up.
yeah, okay.
I'm
Yeah, so
so sorry.
I will make the one sentence. So the test show that if you have a bad way to recognize the sounds, you will get a bad score in sounds production. So the sound recognition affect the sounds production of the students of Korean, so something like that. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Miss Aprilia, for the inspiring presentation. Thank you. So, okay, now let's move on to the question and answer session. So I saw some questions here. So, okay, the question is from Mr. Oda Tedaena. So this is for the first presenters first. So the question is, how can you conclude that 70% of the students underwent deep learning? What are the consequences of your research result? Okay, for the first presenter, you may answer the question.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Now we are going to answer it. We will share the screen. Is that okay? To support our explanation later on.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, related to the first question, it's about how can we get 70% of the percentage. So, oh yeah, how can we conclude? Okay, so basically we got the data from this from total respondents of the level of respondents of each foundation or each topic. In this context is instructional design, psychological foundation, and philosophical foundation. So mostly they were in level, they are in level 4 and 5. With the total respondents are 15 and 6 respondents. So we got total 70%, 20%. So it's 70% of the total respondents. And then the second one is what are the consequences of your research result? Okay, and yeah, and also I want to add that for the first question, this is the raw data that we got for the for the study, for our research. So we analyzed, we identified and classified the students into solo taxonomy level 1 until level 5. Yeah.
So probably I will add Mas Indra. Thank you, Pak Oda, for this beautiful question. And well, basically we came up with 70% of the students underwent deep learning because in our analysis based on the solo taxonomy, 70% of them refer to level 4 and level 5. And the next question is, what are the consequences of your research results? Well, this has been answered partly through our second questions. What are challenges? And we ended up realizing that challenges, especially because there is no opportunity for us to meet and the class is been online all the time. And then we eventually identified a couple of problems that has caused the students to demonstrate the point 2 and 3, which I would assume for graduate students a bit unacceptable in a way. And we attempted to capture whether the students really have problems or not. And it is because from the feedback, the midterm feedback by the students, they reported that the class was done well, very well. The satisfaction rate is 83. It's amazing. 93, the satisfaction rate. I was so surprised with the results, but as an instructor, I realized that some students did not perform well. So this study was done to better help my students, in fact, because personally speaking, I didn't do enough, but their perception was beyond my expectation, was just wonderful. And I've got the data for that. And the consequences for me is how I develop a better service. This is personally enriching for me, and also to both Mas Indra and Mbak Ayu. And also because this material is also returned the data and the analysis was also cross-validated by the students, and they also receive feedbacks as well. So that's my response, Pak Oda. Thanks a lot for this beautiful question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marcus, Mr. Indra, and also Ms. Ayuni for answering the questions. So let's move on to the second questions. This is for the second presenter, Ms. Aprilia, from Pak Oda Tena also. The question is, how much can a second language learner divide the sound from the norm or standard sound? So for Ms. Aprilia, you may unmute yourself and answer the question.
Okay, thank you. That's actually a good question and a good homework for me. So in the big test, I mean like this because the research here is my part on the part of my pre-test of my main test. So in the main test, actually the main test is I use like like 20 Indonesian speakers from different areas from different cities with the different first language, because actually our first language is our the local language or something like that, Japanese or Batak, something like that. And then I choose like 20 teachers of Indonesian, because in my opinion the Indonesian teacher must have the must use the standard sounds of Indonesian, because they teach Indonesian for foreigners or something like that. But until now, actually, the results of the collected sounds, the collected data that I got until now, I cannot say which one is the norm or the standard sound of Indonesian sounds, because actually each speaker of Indonesian has has like a different feature of the sounds, because they have the local language. So that's why I decided to use the Jakarta, the Jakarta speaker. I mean, like for the test, and then Jakarta and Japanese. So he is from the Japanese. He's a Japanese person, but stay in Jakarta for like more than 10 years. So I use the people as the main main speaker of the recording, and then I play the recording to the students or something like that. So the student will listen to the standard sound of the persons or something like that. And then it depends of the variable that we have of each the students. I mean, like, because I put 3 groups here. The first group is the students of the Korean students who learn Indonesian only for 1 month, and then the second group is the Korean students that learn Indonesian for more than 1 year, and then the third group is the students who who learn Indonesian for more than 5 years, and then all of them are staying in Indonesia. So that's my variable of the samples or something like that. So I found one interesting thing here, that even after you stay here like more than 5 years, sometimes you still find difficulty to to deviate the sounds, because actually the sounds is not accessed in your language. Like example, we have liquid liquid trill, the R in Indonesia, but they do not really have the R in Indonesia. They have the tap sounds or the dark R usually. So that's why sometimes it's difficult to to produce the sounds or something like that. So this is still a question. I mean, I was like, how much can a second? This one is depends of the. So at first, my hypothesis is if you are staying here long, or if you use the Indonesian for a long time, actually the sound production or the sound recognition will be getting better. But that's the result shown not like that. So that's why it's actually I got a stress with the results, because my hypothesis is just not work here. So the problem is I cannot say now how, but actually the results show that even the student from the third group still cannot deviate the sounds correctly. So yeah, that's one. But actually 70% the students who what is it, who learn Indonesian more than 1 year, they have a better 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 what is it ability, they have a good better ability to deviate the sounds or something like that. Is it like that? Okay. Thank you, Paula. But the result, actually I got too frustrated now, but the results not really getting well. So thank you for the question.
Good luck for your research.
Yeah. I mean, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oda, for asking the question, and thank you for the presenters for answering the question. Actually, we are running out of time, and we have to end the session.
Yeah, thank you, Nadia, for being a very excellent moderator.
Thank you so much. So I think that's the end of the parallel session 1. Thank you so much for joining. So after this, we still have the parallel session 2. We still have a lunch break at 11:30 until 1 p.m. So don't go anywhere, because we still have the parallel session 2 at 2. And after that, we also have our third speaker at 2 p.m. So please pay attention of the link that provided in the program book. Match your chosen topic and with the topic link, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the conference. But before that, let's take a picture to as the documentation. So for those who haven't turned on the camera, you may please turn on your camera. If not, it's okay. Okay, everyone. Okay, on my count, 1, 2, 3. Once again, 1, 2, 3. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this session. See you on the other conference.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you at 1. Bye.
Yes, thank you.